Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be farming, which is kind of unusual after the last couple of videos I've done, but I'm going to take you through my morning routine, a day in the life, but it ends at like 10:30 in the morning, if that makes sense. So in the mornings, I keep my kids for like an hour. So usually I get up about 6 a.m. and then I come to the farm just after 7 a.m. My wife goes to the gym at like 5:30 in the morning, so that's why I have the kids. There is always someone milking in the morning, so I very rarely will milk in the morning. And when I get to the farm, the first place I come is here to my office, just to check that everything's like going normally with the parlour, the computer's working properly, and if I have any 3D prints, I need to take them off and start the printers again. So that took 8 hours to print. That's one half of a case for one of 3 flow meter boxes. And these two things are stands for a water measuring system for a new controller for a beef farm. So measures water intake per animal and also automatically drains and flushes the drinker. And these are the stands to hold the box up. They'll be finished milking in about half an hour, so I need to hurry up and go get the cows scraped and bedded. I will try my best in this video to keep track of time for you all. It's currently like 7:15. There's a girl, Ellie, who comes at 7:30 and she feeds all the calves, gives them milk, water, meal, bedding, all of that sort of stuff. So thankfully I don't have to do that job anymore. I have delegated that job. And I'm very glad I have, because I really don't have the patience for calves. Come on. Really quick update when I'm here on the self-draining water drinkers that I have installed. They're working really well. I have not cleaned this in like 3 weeks and it's still perfectly clean. The data from the flow meters, so measuring how much they drink, less useful. I haven't really looked at it in a couple of weeks, so I should sort of tell you that the information is not very valuable. But it is interesting. Vast majority of water is drank straight after the morning milking between like 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And then there's another big burst after the evening milking. This is all pretty normal and expected, but they drink nothing during the night, like nothing at all. Right, I'm going to go scrape these cubicles off with the hand scraper, bring in the tractor and scrape the passage out, and then get some sawdust and lime and bed all the cubicles, and I'll show you a bit of that. Come on. We definitely are going to have a few cows to AI this morning. This is our breeding batch, and there's like 3 or 4 cows jumping on each other, so they're fairly obvious. So I'll not write their numbers down. We'll get them later on after we feed them, when we're checking all of them for heats. I could just say the number on camera and they don't have to write it down. 7822, remember that number. What's this black one's number? 7827 as well. 7822, 7827. That's what the other drinker looks like. It was actually cleaned out maybe 10 days ago. Them two are definitely showing strong heats. And no, I don't have collars, I don't have heat detection, I just do it by eye. I feel like I've already explained why, so I'm not going to explain it again. All of our slurry tanks are basically full at the minute. We had to mix and take 3 or 4 load out of the far tank yesterday, and I thought this tank would have done until next week, but it's basically filled up. So this evening I'm going to put the pump in, mix it, and then on Friday and Saturday we'll take a couple of loads of slurry out of it over to our out farm where we still have some space. I could put the pump in this morning, but I already have too much to do today, so I'm going to leave it until this evening and do it then whenever I'm prepared and organised and have the pump ready to go in, and it's probably a better option. The cows stand there and wait after they're milked until I have the house ready for them. So it's pretty handy. I'll leave you the dry cows and heifers again. Perfect. So it is now 7:45, and all of the cows are now in the parlour. They'll be finished milking in about 10 minutes. We start at 6:30, in case you're wondering. 170 cows milking at the minute. Ellie has finished feeding the calves, so she might have a few more to feed actually. And I have finished scraping and bedding the one side that we do in the morning. We do the other 2 batches in the evening. So the next job for me this morning is to open all the gates and go get in the JCB and give everything silage. I feed the cows during the day, but at night at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, my dad pushes in the silage and gives them a little bit extra if they need it, but he constantly is giving them too much extra. And I clean these out every day, so all of this silage is now going to have to be moved and fed to the beef animals and the heifers. Normally that's not such a big problem, but we're almost out of first cut and we have to get through all of the 5th cut before we run out of first cut so that the cows can be fed the 2nd cut. Does that make sense? We cannot feed these cows 5th cut silage, it'll literally dry them off. So because there's so much extra silage now, which is going to have to go to the beef and the heifers, I'm going to use like 8 or 9 grabs of first cut this morning and 0 grabs of 5th cut this morning. It's definitely not going to be hard to spot heats this morning. It's way warmer than I expected this morning, and I've got like 4 layers on. It must be like 12 degrees today. It's roasting. This is why I never can find any of my farm clothes either, because I always just dump them anywhere and then always forget about them. But anyway, let's push the silage out from these cows and then let's get them fed. My window's very dirty, by the way, so I apologise in advance. Move your head. It was stupid. One Sunday morning, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was doing this and this gate at the top, the bar for it was sticking out, and I managed to burst the £2,000 tyre on the JCB and had to get it replaced. So that was an expensive Sunday morning. Thankfully I learned my lesson. So you can see I've done a fairly good job of cleaning out the old silage. So now we can feed this grab to this side and then get a grab and push the other side out as well. So you may be wondering, why do we not have a feeder wagon? That is a very common question I have got asked, and the main reason is that we are a grazing herd, and we are a grazing herd like on principle. Like, I cannot be bothered doing these jobs every single day of the year. That's not for me. So we graze like 220 days of the year. Because we graze for the majority of the year, a feed wagon is of less use to us, so we have less of a payback period to make it all work. Also, time. Block silage is very quick, it's very easy, it's very straightforward and simple, and I know that there is plenty of farmers out there who are spending 1 to 2 hours in the mornings mixing up batches of feed for their animals. I can't be bothered with that. It'll take me about half an hour to feed everything with silage this morning. That's a lie, it'll be a bit longer, like 40 minutes maybe. So this is a wee bit of grass that I took out of the cows, and I will just dump this in the beef house and then push it in when I'm feeding them later. So I'm going to finish feeding the cows and turn this camera off because it slows me down so much. And then after breakfast we are going to check the cows for heats, tail paint some cows, and we probably need to take a load of slurry out this morning. I know I said I was going to leave that tank to this evening. It's not going to wait till this evening. It's already like basically through the slats. So we're going to have to do that as well. And the final thing I want to do in this video this morning is show you how much first cut we have left and how we have to judge running out of first cut to when we hit our second and third cut. And it's a challenge every year, but I think we've managed it this year. It's now almost 8:30. I'm going to go for my breakfast and I'll be back out at about 10 to 9. That flat tire's another thing for the list that I had totally forgot about until I just walked past it, so I might have more work to do this morning than I expected. We have another unexpected job for this morning, which is that the covers need moved back on both silage pits. There is a crack along here and I can feel that there's a hole underneath the cover, so I really don't want to either fall down a hole or have the whole fifth cut slide out in front of me, so I'm kind of a bit nervous and I put the camera on just in case that happens. That is not solid. See, this is what I mean. That's a big hole, so don't step there, step over. Oh my, is there another hole? No. Wondering why I'm so nervous? It's because I have past experience of falling down a giant crevasse in a silage pit, and believe me, it is not an experience I want to repeat. This is so scary. I should definitely be wearing gloves for this job. My hands will stink the rest of the day. Right, let me show you where the fifth cut ends and where the second cut begins. So every year the big panic is, are we going to make it to the good second and third cut before we run out of first cut, and means we don't have to feed the bad fourth or fifth cut to the cows. And it's always a judgment as to when you open this silage pit up and start feeding it so that you'll get to the good stuff before you run out of the other good stuff. So yesterday we finally hit the second cut. So these grabs here, they were actually cut in September. So this is the last little bit of fifth cut left, and then we're into good silage again, and we have like half a bay of first cut left, so we timed it well. Our next unexpected job this morning is to take the tires off the first cut silage. So, okay, I think you're good there. The green film is an oxygen barrier. Highly recommend an oxygen barrier. Return on investment, 2 to 1 within the year you buy it. I was trying to get a company to manufacture it for me so I could sell my own brand, but I haven't had time to actually look at that yet, but maybe eventually. But it is great. Highly recommend the oxygen barrier. Ellie is very much learning to drive the JCB, so if you're wondering why she's driving quite slowly, she's new at it. She's getting there. Either I'm getting sick or it is roasting today. got a lot better at driving, to be fair. Pretty much perfect. We do get a wee bit of waste where the side sheets have actually come over the silage, which is why I don't even think side sheets are in any way worth it. But it's not too bad, it's pretty good. Okay, so we have still got two big jobs to do this morning on the farm. Number one is to go and check the cows for heats, top up the tail paint, and then AI any that are running. But I had to come back here for a pen, and I have two other things to check on the computer. The first thing to check is that my dad is convinced there is a cow that has to go dry, which has not went dry yet. So I am going to look her up and see when she is due to calve, and it is 56 days time, so she does have to go dry. So that's another unexpected job I'm going to have to do this morning. But I've also come in here to check our milk yields, because if you didn't see my previous video 2 weeks ago, our powder feeders were messing about. They were feeding less than they were saying they were feeding. And I changed some calibration values, and they must have been feeding more than I thought they were feeding then for the last 2 weeks. And yesterday I changed the way the feeders work. I had to change them to timed feeders, which is stupid, but we'll not get into it. So now they're probably feeding a lot more accurately than they have been both of them previous times, and our milk dropped by 0.6, 0.7 litres yesterday. So I think I need to put our feed rate up, because now the feeders are feeding accurately. Does that make sense? Does all of that make sense? So I'm going to change the feed rate this morning as well, and set our milk from forage to 6 litres and bring it back down from where it was set, which was 8. So this is our feed table. I'm changing it then to 6 from 8. So a 20 litre cow is now going to get 6.4 kilograms, up from 5.5. A 25 litre cow is now going to get 8.6. A 30 litre cow is now going to get 11. 35 litre cow is now going to get 13.2. We'll go 13.5, and we top out at 14 kilograms for the maximum that we're willing to feed. Set allocations, okay. So your time update, it is currently 9:30, so we're making okay progress. Most mornings I've finished up by about 10, but I've had quite a few unexpected jobs this morning, so it'll probably be a bit later. And if you're wondering what I do the rest of the day, it's a lot of time on computer coding, electronics, or if there's like big farm jobs to do that happen once every few weeks. So I'm not like finished work for the day, I'm just finished my has to be done on the farm for the day. So here is our two, which are very obviously in heat. It's not exactly hard to spot. 0 tail paint left, really dirty sides. Same with this one, really dirty sides, no tail paint left. So they're very obvious. I'm going to write them on my glove with lots of exclamation marks, and that means I know they're definitely in heat, as you can see. And if I was unsure of a cow, like the one in the other batch, I've put an exclamation mark and a question mark. So I will check to see when she last had a heat, if it matches up, and then I'll decide to air or not. I won't top up every cow, but most get fresh tail paint. So this big cow is less obvious. First of all, the two heifers are nudging at her, so suspicious. But also dirty sides, so she's been jumped on. And her tail paint is also all gone. There's like nothing left. But she's definitely not going to be served because she's like freshly calved. She's only calved a week, 10 days, but I'll still record her heat date so I know in future if her cycles are all matching up. I now have my list. There's 5 cows, 4 potentially to AI, which would be quite a lot for me. Usually it's 2, 3 a day. There's also that cow to go dry. I've changed my mind. I'm not going to put her dry today. There's like 5 or 6 that have to go dry. We'll do that on Monday. I'm just going to chuck her back in the cow house. And I'll show you the selection process. Right, so our first animal, 7509, she got an exclamation point and a question mark. Let's see what her story is. She was last AI'd on the 16th of January, it says it over here, and I was 100% sure that it was a successful AI. And it's only been 9 days since her heat, so we'll add the heat date, but we will not be AIing her. 7827, she is definitely in heat. She's one of the ones that we've seen jumping all morning. She is 63 days, so she's perfect to AI. We will add our heat date and we will write her on our list. 7822. Also in heat. It's one of the ones that we've seen jumping. She was AI'd on the 3rd of January, so she is 22 days since her last heat. So she is definitely not held. And she got my most expensive straw, a Rubel's Red, so that is just fantastic. So that is pretty much my morning on the farm done. It is currently 10:38, and in the meantime I did set the camera down. I had lots of little jobs to do. So the dry cows were bedded with lime, they were scraped. The heifers had their silage cleaned out and replaced. The dry cows got some extra silage. I lifted the cover that we threw off earlier. I think that's pretty much it. And then I headlocked the 2 cows that I said I was going to AI after dinner. I'm just going to AI them now. I would rather have a block of free time instead of having a job to do in the middle of it. So that's my morning done. It was about 3 hours this morning. There is other people here helping me. It's not just me. So Ellie was here for 2 hours this morning, and my dad, he milked this morning, and then he fed the heifers and moved the calf around. He's now away to our out farm to feed them, so that's like 100, 120 animals over there. He is away the rest of the day. He likes to take a day off every so often, so he's away the rest of the day. So this evening, what happens on the farm is I am milking this evening. A guy, Niall, who milks for me on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, he will be here to help me milk. And then Ellie will be back this evening at 4 o'clock, and she will let the cows out, bed and lime the other batch of cows that I didn't do this morning, feed the beef house, feed all the calves, and that'll take her like an hour and a half. So hopefully that gives you a good picture of what my farming day looks like in winter. I'm sure it was a bit jumbled. I'll try to edit it together to make it look a bit better. The gap in the middle of my day, what am I doing with it? Because I've made videos about what time I spend farming and stuff before, and people always seem to miss the bit where I tell them what I do outside of farming. So the rest of the day today, I have some boxes to finish for Slurry because I'm going down there tomorrow to deliver some, and I have 2 more water measuring automatic draining drinker systems to finish. Now I've kind of ran out of time, and I'm probably not going to get the RFID readers finished before I have to install them tomorrow, but I always have some reason to go back. It never goes perfectly whenever you're trying to install 2 new systems. So I'm going to call in there tomorrow and like half install the systems, so I need to get all that ready for tomorrow. I also need to edit this video. So today's Thursday, so I need to edit this video after lunch because I am busy this evening, and then I am away all day tomorrow until like 11 p.m. So to post this video on Saturday, it has to be edited today. Yeah, it's a busy day, okay? It's a busy day, but I work best under pressure, so it's not a bad thing. If you like this video, a bit of an insight into my life, what I get up to in the farm, please do give it a like. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, leave them down below. Subscribe if you really want to, and once again, thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you next week. If you're wondering what this flashing light is, this is my power monitoring systems. They measure all the electric use in the farm. I should really do a video on that at some time, but I'll get to that eventually. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.